Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Stasia Bliss. We are moving on with the runes today, finally. I actually had to go through the entire bag of runes to find today's rune, which is Kenaz. So here it goes. So it looks like a greater than sign, Kenaz. It's funny because I had to find out what the greater portion of the bag was. I actually had to illuminate all contents of the bag to find this at the very end. Excuse me. I wanted to do this rune weeks ago, and I thought that maybe on the Tucson trip where I went to the Gem and Mineral Show, I would have time to do it. And then I went and lost my voice while I was there. I had a big detox, whole reworking of the throat chakra is what it felt like. And I couldn't talk about it. And as the runes and divinatory, tools often do, they won't let me or anyone talk about them or use them or fully get to the next place until you have had the journey itself, right? So Kenaz is an illumination, and in the greater than symbol, if you get it in the reverse, it looks like less than or something diminishing, right? Of course, inherent in every rune is its opposite sign as well. So that's where you see it in its fully empowered space and also in its detriment, or what the challenges are that you face when interacting with the energies of Kenaz. So whenever you're watching this video, this is your time that you are interacting with this rune, maybe for the first time if you're just learning. You could take it as your sign today, and the day that I'm recording this video is a new moon in Pisces. And many planets are in Pisces, and for a very, very short window, all the planets are also direct for a few more days. And I'm still illuminating this new voice that I've been grappling with since losing it. So this rune, enlightenment, you could say. You could think of Kenaz as holding a lamp or a light and walking into a dark room, walking into a dark library even. So the illumination is of the contents which are greater than you thought before, greater than your imaginings, right? The light is being thrown open on a situation, on a person, on a part of yourself. But it is a positive rune in that it moves away the shadows. It helps you look at the shadows, especially if, if something is growing, something is also diminishing. There's that natural balance, right? So, and right now we are in a time where we've recently entered Pluto in Aquarius back in November of the end of last year, 2024. And we've recently had the Sun conjunct Pluto in Aquarius last month while the Sun was in Aquarius. And now we are at a moon in Pisces with many planets in Pisces. Neptune is still at home in Pisces, so we have a ruling planet there. And Pisces is the final house of the zodiac before we start into Aries. And so we are at the end of a zodiacal year. We are at the completion of many cycles, but that completion comes with a beginning. We are also beginning many cycles, and these beginnings have been overlapping with endings, for the past few months at least, even all the way back into last summer, when Pluto was in Aquarius visiting. We had some energy there that was showing us what was ahead. But so this rune shows up, and it's like opening your eyes to a situation, or it's saying, something is growing here. Something has been diminishing, but something is growing. So to put your attention on a reversal is to negate the power that's present in this rune. So it really is like, turn your attention to what's growing. Turn your attention to what is being illuminated for you. Even if you feel like you're still at the very beginning, this is an ongoing angle, right? These lines are never going to meet up. They're going to continue for infinity, expanding, expanding, expanding. So there's a lot of energy behind Kenaz that is showing good, and it may be shining the light on your relationships, your money, and like maybe that means you do see where some things have not been so much in the light. Maybe they're things that were in the dark in previous relationships, or the difficult part of that point where you were in the less than. Those elements might be present still, but with the illumination of this energy, with I would say the power of the spiritual that is present in this new moon today, especially if you're watching today, but even through this, very Pisces dominated time. Of course, we have Aquarius and Pisces, the end of the zodiac, very illuminated right now with all these planets there and so much attention there. And the North Node being in Pisces, we have this heavy energy toward connecting spiritually, connecting spiritually. I kind of can't go beyond that. Like, that's the enlightenment principle of Kenaz. Kenaz is like, this isn't really about totally and fully the practicality of the issue. That's Virgo territory. That's on the opposite side of the chart. That's where our South Node is, which is the past. So a lot of what this North Node energy is bringing, and why Kenaz is maybe wait to talk about it till this new moon today. And new moons are generally beginning energies, right? But with the beginning comes ending. So what is ending? What are we allowing to end? What is the universe taking from us? And what are we trying to end? So the illumination is like causing us to need to tap into the spiritual nature and align with it. Align with it. Some things are present in your life right now that are already on the increase and they're aligned for you. So if you're tying old stories to them, that's this side of Kenaz. That's the past. That's going backward into contraction and the fog and de-illumination. And that's not the way Kenaz is pointing, this future illumination. So when this rune comes up, and I would dare say, until we meet again, until the next rune presents, which is kind of how these rune journeys go and how the tarot journey went also. And if you followed that with me or you're watching it later, I mean, it profoundly aligned with my life in some very uncomfortable ways. When I got to the death card, my father died. And it took me a long time to get to that card. I didn't anticipate it was going to align so closely, but that's what these energies are teaching. Like, this is a language of spirit. The divinatory devices, the tarot, the runes, the I Ching, the oracle cards, we're not messing around, and why some people call them, they think they're demonic or they're afraid of them, is because it so closely can attune to the energy, which science is very new to tracking, or at least they're not very public about the way that energy moves and impacts us, and how the planetary influences really do impact us. And when I very much started getting into astrology, it was very relieving because I stopped being like taking everything so personally that was happening in my life. I started to realize on some level I'm kind of a pawn of this dance of the planets. And not only me, but many people like me are all playing out this thing that's happening in the sky right now, unbeknownst to us, right? Unless you follow astrology, which is why I do. That doesn't mean it has to tell you exactly everything that's going to happen, but it can let you know, hey, this is what the energy's doing. What you going to do with it? When I first learned this rune, Kenaz, the symbol that was given to me was a light going into a library, like a vast, dark library. And my first thought went to like what is probably the Vatican library, like a very deep underground, dark, and like spider webs on everything, and having like lights go on, and then like realizing what information potential lies in waiting, right? And Kenaz isn't necessarily the information itself. It is just it is shining a light on that there is more to this story. There's more than meets the eye. So right now, when you're watching this rune is teaching us to look at like, what is expanding, what is opening, what is having a light shine on the potential of the situation, right? And the encouragement is to not like look at how to shrink it or how to belittle it or how to make it less based on past happenings, and that's that Piscean double-edged sword of I surrender or I give up. Surrendering is different than giving up. Surrendering is like, this is out of my hands, this is in God's hand or universe's hands, on a spiritual level. I give up my ego control, my thinking that I know best as a personality, and I allow the situation to be illuminated by something greater, a power greater than me. And when we can perform that act with our mind, when we can do that level of surrender, we are utilizing the energy present in the universe in the Pisces, and we are allowing what is thousands of years of understanding and opening to the spiritual realm through these particular runes, through particularly my ancestors in the Scandinavian countries, but um, in any culture that is focusing on specific symbols as magic, which the runes are, it builds up in the collective, right? It builds up as a power, as an understanding that when you tune in, when you tap into, when you utilize the runes, like you can literally draw this rune, draw a greater than rune on anything, on a piece of paper that you're writing relationship stuff, like illuminate for me on your book that you're doing your finances, help me to be illuminated, help me to see all this stuff. These are practices that I can do more, right? I know about this stuff and I sometimes use it, but I don't always. And so revisiting the runes reminds me, hey, I got tools at my disposal here that can assist things in going better by aligning myself more fully. And this Piscean time period and this new moon is a great time to reclaim or discover or rediscover spiritual tools and spiritual practices that will support you. And that's kind of been my whole life jam, is finding those practices and finding those techniques and those tools, because my life has just been one giant transformation process after another. And I'd like to say that it has been a tantric path for me, which a lot of people assume is sexual, but actually tantra means the mind. It's a mental liberation. It's an alchemy of the mind. It's an ability to look at things in the most transformative way possible. So Kenaz would be connected to that, in that this illuminating a different aspect of mind, a different aspect of life that maybe everyone tells you can only look at a situation this way, but Kenaz is like, there are so many ways to look at this. What is the most powerful way you can look at this situation? The situation is here for you. The situation is exactly what you require to refine and make yourself the best version of you. And you, as a wise being, called it in somehow. You're illuminating that to yourself right now in the light of, or in the dark of this moon. Because in the Pisces energy, we go into the deep dark, we go into the unknown, we go into the unconscious and the subconscious recesses of self and find like a truth there, our truth there. So let all things be illuminated on this movement from the new moon toward the full moon, right, with Kenaz. Just be vigilant and aware of how this is showing up in your life. And just like quantum physics says, like when you adjust your lens to be looking for something, you will find it. That can work against you or for you, but take it as you will. Thanks so much for joining me on this rune journey. Hopefully I'll get back into doing some other videos soon again, as I'm recovering my voice and as we're entering again another powerful time in the year. We have eclipse seasons coming up and the spring equinox is coming up also. We just passed through Mahashivatri last night, so that was powerful ceremony for connecting in with higher consciousness, with consciousness itself, and receiving some maybe powerful new downloads. So maybe watch what your dreams were telling you last night if you're watching this on the new moon. Um, there's some data there for sure. Okay, and if you would like a private session or private reading, I do those. Please reach out. My information is below, and we'll see you next time. Blessings. I love you, and